What's up, cyberspace cadets? It's Irate Prostate here. It's Thursday. You know what that means. You know what that means. It means it's time for hot takes. I wanna open up the Senate subcommittee. Please, everybody, calm down. Trusted officials and my brother up here on the docket. Big Fat Brian, we're here to assess to whether the veracity of season 2 of Iron Fist is worth anybody's attention or not, and hopefully by the end of this inquiry, we'll be able to come to some conclusion. And with that being said, all right, Irate Prostate is going to give you a breakdown of what season 1 was like. Season 1 it was so schizophrenic, okay? It had like 5 or 6 very intense, there's a lot of moving parts to it, right? Family shit going on with the corporation. So it was like a corporate drama, and it was like, and then the fight sequences, there weren't very many, were horrible. They were slow. I mean, it just looked like a bunch of morons were trying to do karate. Didn't have any direction or anything, right? The only one, and a lot of people bitch about this, but I thought it was the best one, was the dude that did the drunken monkey technique knew what he was doing because it looked right to me, right? Everybody said, oh, he was the worst one of all, man, but I thought he was spot on. Everything else in that first season, it was horrible. The story was bad. You know, Danny Rand just showed up in some bare feet, you know, and he's going to go claim his fortune, you know, as the CEO of this company. He left Kunlun with the Iron Fist, he was supposed to be the protector of Kunlun and shit. And so during the course, he meets this chick named Colleen. They hit it off, and then it turns out that she's a double agent for the Hand, and so this leads up to the part that season 1 leads up to the because it started in Daredevil and kept going, and then the Defenders crescendoed, and the Hand were finally defeated and wiped out. Okay, and at some point, Davos, the guy that you see in this season, was his friend and fought with him, you know, during some of that. So. And Defenders, I thought, was even worse than season 1 of Iron Fist. Okay, and with all that being said, Iron Fist season 1 really sucked. It had a lot. Really, the best acting. The best acting was the guy that plays Ward Meacham, his cousin, and Joy. Their interplay and their relationship with their fathers it was fucking excellent. And Ward ended up killing the father, who had some kind of immortality deal that they didn't really go into, and it didn't make any fucking sense. So we come into season 2 with all this. The Hand's defeated. There's obviously a power vacuum. left in Chinatown. And so there's these two gangs, the Golden Tigers and the, what are they just called, the Hatchets? The Hatchet Gang or some shit like that. Yeah. You're fucking blessed. Well, and the weirdest thing about it, okay, is that you know, there was so much, it was just so scattered, it was so you know, disjointed and shit. I was going, man, they'll never be able to resurrect this thing. I don't know. I just don't know how they're going to do it, right? Because it's just, they had taken us to a point of where it was, you know, Danny was like, okay, I'm going to go back to, okay. He's not, he shouldn't be muted, dude. We should be able to hear you. Hold on. Fucking shit. Give me check 1, check 2. No, hold on. What the fuck? All right, we're going through, everything looks right on this side. Let me check the OBS. All right, audio. All right, everything looks okay. All right, so let's see. Let me see something here. Yeah, I can hear you perfect, man. Let's see. All right. Uzi Q. Can you hear Brian? Brian, talk. No, she said no. Why don't you pop out and see if you can pop back in and see if that'll help. Yeah, it's not showing up at all. Hold on. Let's try it again. Check 1, 2. See, my mic is coming through. Brian? Hold on a second. Boom. Check. Say it. No, I'm not saying it. Yeah, on this side, I'm not seeing it on the OBS, and I don't understand what's going on. Because you should be even bouncing with the. Hold on a second. Check. This is dumb. I don't understand why it's not working. Well, fucking shit. It's all right. I'm going through again. The audio output. Oh, let me check one thing. Hold on, Bubba. Okay, Brian. This is such bullshit. Try it now.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Bam.
This is technical difficulty live stream.
All right, you're fixed.
Woo!
We got you fixed. And I don't know what the fuck. We apologize. All right, so I had given the front story and the preface to the show
Yeah, no, I heard that. I heard everything you said.
Right. I'm bringing it back up for the people in the audience. So, we'll say hey to Doc Griffin and Lo-Fi. Greetings. It's great to have y'all come in. Killing Joke. What's up, y'all? All right. So, we got this shit worked out as to why the desktop audio was acting a little weird. But I think we got it fixed. Brian?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think so I guess they didn't hear anything I said at all. So
Yeah.
what I was saying was that I heard a little bit about season 1 and Defenders, and I even watched part of season 1. But I just, from what I saw and from what people said, I just wasn't going to finish that. So I sort of came to the table on this second season hoping that it was going to be better. And so far, how do you feel about this season?
Okay. All right. The best shit that they did for this series, man, was simplify the fucking story. All right. That's one of the main things that was needed. B, they actually brought in a real fight choreographer. Okay. One negative thing about that is that they should have used stunt people to do the fighting. Okay. Because stunt people know how to fucking fight. You get some pansies from fucking Great Britain. They don't, literally, live posh lives and shit. I'm not dissing any Brits because I know some of them can kick ass, right?
He's calling you all soft soy boys.
No, not all of them, man.
Sorry about your memes.
I know a good Cockney or a good Yorkshireman, can kick anybody's ass in a New York minute. I'm just talking about these trained actors. So, the fighting was a lot faster and looked a lot more like Kung Fu to me. It reminded me, especially Davos, with some of his facial expressions and shit, was reminding me of like he was trying to ape Bruce Lee. You could really tell it. And, but there wasn't a lot of there were no nunchucks or none of that shit. Some sword play and some baton play, but not a whole lot. The story is a simple story. It's and here's the problems I had with the story part is that there's a lot of lazy dialogue in it, right? Like I didn't want it to end this way, or he chose his way, he chose his path, or let's see, it's not over between you and me. It's not over. And
well, it was super cliche, yeah.
Right, and then the other one, I want what's rightfully mine. Okay, that's all like, oh Jesus, so they're really going this route. All right, that bothered me severely. So let's see what the people in the crowd are saying about. I'll follow that if you want to talk for a second.
So I don't know. This season, it started out not great for me. I picked it up and I watched episode 1 and 2, and I said, I'm gonna go watch this when I get some free time, and then a couple of days passed, didn't really feel the urge to watch it. To me, the beginning of this, the acting was not there. It was bland. It was like watching an after-school sitcom almost,
Right. See, I didn't have that take at all. I wasn't expecting good acting. Everything that I saw in this season was a drastic improvement than season 1. And even I pointed out the cheesy, the cheesy dialogue and shit, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand, man, that these guys, the bar was really set low in that first season, man. I was like, God damn, man, it was just so painful. And to make it, another thing that was good about this year is that it didn't go fucking 13 episodes like the first season did. Can you imagine 3 more episodes of just excruciating horribleness? Dude, this, in comparison, this was good. Actually, this was more like a CW type
production.
Yeah, kind of, like Arrow.
Okay.
You and I kind of we kind of contrasted the differences and the similarities between Oliver Queen and Danny Rand, because there's some parallels there, especially with the CW shit, right?
Well, okay, I can see that. I actually watched the first season of Arrow, and I can see the compare and contrast on that. And if I'm gonna be honest, I think that the second season was better than what I saw of the Arrow. But I also don't really think that the Arrow would have gotten a super great rating in my book.
Right. It was having a hard time trying to find itself at first, but now it's in a good groove. Actually, I think it's expectations. I think people have. Look, y'all. I grew up with the Roy Thomas and Gil Kane, Danny Rand / Iron Fist, right? The immortal, fantastic, great Iron Fist, it was just a fucking, it was Luke Cage and Danny Rand, heroes for hire, and they would go literally and get paid to fuck criminals up, protection rackets, that kind of shit. You know? And they were kind of running a protection racket their own, if you think about it. But so the Danny's character hadn't been fleshed out. I think what a lot of people are seeing is that during the 2000s, Danny's Rand character had kind of a makeover, and they made the kung fu shit a lot more mystic. Okay, they put more mysticism, and the Kunlun is like a mysterious place that's like trans-dimensional, right? You have to cross over dimensions to get there, and it's where all different universes and different galaxies of Iron Fists come to train. There's kind of a Green Lantern element to it, from what I'm to understand. I haven't read. I quit reading comic books in 2002. I quit buying them and reading them because just the reboot. Anyway, I got a lot of problems with it. I did like the original stuff with Alex Ross's artwork. Man, it's fucking excellent shit. But other than that, it was just like it was shitty. And I think a lot of people are basing the character on that one, because the Danny Rand, he was deep into the kung fu thing. He wasn't very talkative. You know what I'm saying? He was more about action and meditation and shit, right? And so now we got Danny Rand living with Colleen, who had turned against him, in the first season because she was working for the Hand under this brainwashed cult thing, right? And so she felt horrible, but they ended up hooking back up. She had been training all these acolytes of the Hand unknowingly, through her dojo. She was told that she was doing something good, so she tore the dojo down and they turned it into an apartment, a nice little loft apartment, pretty nifty. I wouldn't mind a place like that.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was one part where I'm like, you tore your dojo down and then turned it into your new loft style apartment.
Love shack.
That's got the IKEA furniture and everything's perfectly set out. It's like I don't know. It seemed to me like a waste, a massive waste. Especially, I mean, you're going through this series, and I'm just gonna say there was way too much. There was so much like emotional roller coaster where one person would be on this side of one accident, sort of like thing they have to fix, and then they would switch sides because of emotions, and they would switch back because of emotions, and it was like, it seemed to be too forced, and that probably had to do with some of the acting.
Okay, I think that's a fair statement. They had a different director and writer for every episode.
Why did they do that?
Except for the first and the last episode were written by the same person. Okay,
that seems like a bad idea.
it's a horrible idea because you can't get any consistency.
No,
out
no,
of the
you
direction.
can't.
See, I really like the 5th episode. With man, you talk about some creative camera work. It looked like they were using a fucking drone to film some of those fight sequences because it was like the camera was moving with a punch, and then it would go around behind and still stay focused on the opponent, right? And so you could see all angles of the fight, man. And I was going, man, the only way you could do that would be with a drone. And I don't think they used any CGI this year. There might have been a little CGI blood, but I mean, that was it. What did you see any major CGI usage, Brian?
Not. I mean, other than the glowing hands, obviously, but that's really about it. I didn't see too much CGI. No.
Right. But I did like Typhoid Mary, Alice Eve's character.
Yes.
Mary / Walker. Because what you don't find out is that there's a third, and she alludes to this, but it seemed like there was more than, because it seemed like the sniper person had a more country accent to it, whereas Walker didn't, right? And you can tell that Walker was the soldier because they call you by your last name in the, when you're a soldier, right? Private Walker, Captain Jones, whatever.
And then Mary was supposed to be the sensitive one, right?
Right, and her middle name is Alice, right? So
yes.
So Mary, yes, she's the artist, feely, touchy-feely. This is, we can just get along. I really don't like the other, she's so conflicted, and she's really, wants a lot of bad stuff for us, man. She puts me in a lot of painful situations. Okay, I get it. That's the part that, they kind of played into the dissociative identity disorder a little too heavily. But then again, I did like the allusion to that third altar because that one's telekinetic and can do some other shit too. She's like Rain Man in that movie Looper.
I see.
All right. If you've seen Looper, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No. Yeah. She's like the one they're trying to prevent in Looper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The when she fucking lets her shit loose, people explode and shit, and fires start, and it's she's pyrokinetic and telekinetic basically, and she can fight kung fu. That episode where she captures Danny and shit is fucking excellent. I thought that was well filmed. It was the fucking, with the pacing was right on, and he wakes up and they're doing that voodoo transfer. It's not voodoo. It's called yaburi. Yaburi. Magic, tattoo magic, which is transference of power through ritualized and I guess blessed tattoos by beings. They didn't get into the mysticism of it that much. But I bought that, right? That dude, he wanted it so bad, even his own parents, because his dad is the one that. All right, when you see let's go to the slideshow. Sorry about that, y'all. So when you see Danny with the little yellow thing and he's got the mask on, he and Davos had to duel each other, right, in a fight. And it's supposed to be to the death. And because Danny is who Danny was, he's too compassionate, he didn't kill Davos at the end. And Davos's father said that Danny was going to be the one that will face the dragon, and whoever faces the dragon, if you live, you become the immortal Iron Fist, and the dragon enters your heart, supposedly, right? It's a spiritual force. I think it's all
it's like butter,
metaphorical.
Metaphorical butter.
Exactly.
So yes, we get that Davos and him fought and everything. How did you feel about the dinner party that Davos and him had together that didn't end as well as they thought it would?
Well, so then there's all this leftover shit from the previous season between Danny and his two cousins, Meacham, Ward Meacham, and Joy Meacham, okay? Because they were the ones that were trying to take over the corporation. They were the next in charge because Danny and his parents crashed in Kunlun, mountainside outside of Kunlun, and he was saved, and he was presumed dead. So they were gonna blah blah blah. So the story ended up that their father was involved with this illegal shit, and they were going to make a coup and take over the company, but they ended up having to kill the dad in the process, and Ward did that, and Joey got shot in the process. So all this shit that's being happening, the whole procurement of the bowl, right? He has to cut off, they have this corpse of a previous Iron Fist, right, where they have to cut off the tattoo of the dragon like Danny has on his chest, and they fire that up. They mix it with blood, and the person that's receiving the spirit drinks the blood, and they mix that up, and they make tattoo ink out of that shit, right? And that's the old school, like they call it yabori. I'm not sure if that's it, but it's where they tattoo, they tap it, they dip it in ink, and they keep tapping it. It's really painful, all right, and it takes a long time to do. But it's Yakuza are done that way, and we had that Jared Leto film that kind of showed us, what that process looked more, what it looked like. All right, so Davos eventually steals Danny's power, okay, and it's through this, through the tattooing and stuff, and it was Alice had been hired by Joy. And it turns up that all this shit is orchestrated by Joy because she hates Danny, and they never really explain why she hates him. It doesn't make any fucking sense because during the first season, she was the only one that had his back, really. And she was even kind of had maybe an emotional, romantically attachment to him. And so when it gets to that point where she says, I'm the one behind all this, this was a big fuck you to you because fuck you. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. But still, the fighting was really good. You see where I'm going with this. See, I watched Alachia, Queen Alachia, who does reviews of like a lot of comic book and comic book related videos and some horror. But she stays pretty much true to the comic stuff. She thought that this was just a big way to, because the first season was all this controversy about him having kung fu and not being fucking Asian. Okay, so she saw this whole stealing of the soul of the dragon, receiving of the immortal Iron Fist powers, as a way to give it back to the Chinese people. She said it was like an SJW redemption story. I don't agree with that, okay? I just didn't see it that way. I thought everything, plot-wise, the way that everything unfolded, it made a lot more sense than it did the previous year. That's all I'm going to say. I had fun watching this. I watched it again. The select episodes, really I started at 3 and then watched 5 and 6 and then 7, 8, and 9 and 10, right? Because that got me all caught up on everything. Because I went through this thing in 2 days. I watched basically half of it one night and then half the next night. Because I liked it. I wanted to see more. And then there's Misty Knight, who is a character from the Luke Cage story, where she gets her arm crushed, and it gets replaced by Rand Industries with this robotic arm. So it's like her version of like the ass kicking, metallic arm, kind of like what Bucky has. Yeah, the Winter Soldier, right?
Except he doesn't turn into a Busoma.
No, you're talking about Sword Guy. I'm talking about the Bucky from the Winter Soldier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. He's got a metal arm too, right? So it's kind of like that, but it's not a Busoma. See, you thought about that, man. And it's like I was gonna like have a subtitle of this called "Keep Your Hands Off My Busoma," because because it would have been funny. And I'm Captain Obvious.
Yeah, no, okay. So back to the beginning of the season here.
Right.
When they decided to have an episode where they sat down for dinner to talk it all out, I mean, what did you think about that? What did you think about that episode?
I thought it was stupid. I thought it was just a, I don't know, man. It was just, I think it was a way to foment the, and kind of escalate the tensions between everybody, right? And just like, you know, letting each other know that, you know, hey, I've got my eye out on you, and I've got mine out on you, and blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, Alice tries to slide, you know, these pictures under the door that have been taken of him, and she tries to warn him that he's being stalked by a dude named by somebody named Walker, right? Which is her.
Yeah, also her.
Her alter is a fucking private eye.
She's crazy, and she has multiple personalities,
and has access to lots of weapons.
Lots and lots of weapons.
And she's got definitely martial arts training.
And also, she's hot.
Dude, this is Alice Eve, man. If you don't recognize her, she's just with Alice Eve with red long hair. She's the blonde chick in the second Star Trek movie. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You should look her up. I'm telling you, there's some really interesting pictures of her on the internet. She obviously likes to, you know, strip down to her very essence for every role that she likes to play.
Oh, wow, you aren't kidding. Holy cow.
Yeah, and she's gorgeous, you know, to boot. So I love the way they played her down and turned her into Typhoid Mary in a good way. See, Typhoid Mary is really sexy. If you'll see, there's a couple of pictures from the comics that I lifted just to give you all an idea of what she's really supposed to look like. And you know, put some more stuff because I believe this really strays from the comics in a lot of ways. I don't think that he and Davos ever got in a fight. I could be wrong about that shit because Davos was never in the early stuff, and that's the stuff that I was weaned on. So, you know, to me, Iron Fist is what I saw. You know, was like a lot of fucking kick ass. He gets his ass kicked a couple times to a point that he gets a broken leg. You know, Davos, you know, with his power of the Iron Fist, which is interesting because I couldn't figure out how Davos got 2 fists when Danny only got 1, right?
Well, obviously it was the child army he raised.
Well, see, and that relates back to Colleen. That was almost like an evil version of what she thought she was doing when she was really, you know, creating, you know, soldiers for the Hand. She wasn't really aware of that, right? She had bought the original instructor. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was, you know, he knew what was going on from the get-go, and she knew just enough. She knew that she was working for something called the Hand, but she didn't know that they were into heroin and all that shit, right? They were a major crime syndicate, right?
Yes. I don't know. I thought that, you know, from a normie perspective of really not seeing much of the first season and then coming in on this season and being like, you know, is this going to be up to par? Is this going to be like, you know, movie quality? Is it going to be, you know, the WB quality, or am I going to get something that looks like it was filmed in somebody's basement? I would say that the quality of film, or, you know, the actual cinematography and making sure the scene is right and that everyone's in the proper uniform and everything, that looked great.
I agree.
That was completely fine. The fighting scenes, some of them were a little bit not the best, but most of them were pretty good. So,
dude, in comparison to last year, I mean, it's night and day, dude. This actually was a believable kung fu epic in my book. I love the fighting was really good. Mm-hmm. You know, whereas compared, I mean, to be honest, like I said, the bar's pretty fucking set low with the first season. So, you know what I'm saying? But still, the fights were really good, and it was interesting to see that the actors were actually, that dedicated to training that they would go through that. I mentioned that, probably stunt folks would have done a better job. The truth is that I was impressed that they didn't use stunt folks on the other end. All right.
I kept thinking to myself the entire series, though, like the entire season, sorry, why doesn't he use his fist more? I mean, there's a lot of situations that he could have gotten out of really easily by just punching someone.
Right. Well, remember that one scene when he's chained down after his power's taken, and he tries to punch the chain to break it, and he just like, oh shit, he breaks his hand, right?
Yeah.
Because he's just a normal human.
Mm-hmm.
See, the power of the dragon also allows you to heal quickly. You don't feel pain as much, so it makes you a more effective weapon. And so I don't know where I was going with that, but I was just, I was trying to, illustrate that. But you're right, though. The hand, he didn't use it as much, not near as much as fucking Davos did.
Davos used it like crazy, and you know what? Good on him. He had the power. Like, if you have the power to do it, use it.
Right, and that was the whole deal. Is that? But see, when it got to the point of where all the evil people had been dealt with, he started killing people that weren't on board with what he was doing. Like the restaurant owner, right? He punches a hole right through the dish. And here's something that pissed me off too. All right, I'll be honest, Brian, is that all the gore that was in it that they cut out. All right? Because there was a scene where he obviously punched the dude so hard that his jaw came off. And they didn't show that. They didn't show exactly what happened when his hand went through that guy. Because I think that for Netflix, they have to give it an MA-13 rating.
I noticed that when he punched the guy in the lower abdomen, you couldn't see it, but there was blood on the wall and everything.
Well, yeah, and he was buried up to his middle of his forearm, so it went through the guy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that this could have been a lot better if they had been willing to take it up to a rated R rating.
A, and B had consistent, less directors, okay?
Less directors, more of a continuity in its storyline. Seriously, I'm telling you, some of the characters just switched sides 3 or 4 times the entire series. For instance, what's her name? Jay? The one that gets the bowl for Davos. She buys it, right?
Yeah, that's Joy. Yeah,
Joy. Sorry,
Joy Meacham. Yeah, she's the cousin, right?
Yeah, Joy switches sides so many times.
Here's what I think. All right, because I was thinking that her realizing at times that she's really out of her depth and that her life is really on the fucking line. Is that this is the closest to death that she's ever come. And so that's why she was acting the way she was. You notice how she manipulated Mary into getting her to let Walker out so she could protect her, right? And so there was some of that going on, and then it kind of looked wishy-washy. But I think that's just her trying to holy shit, I didn't bargain for this. I just wanted Danny's power taken away. And the dude almost killed her, which was interesting because what did he say? I can't, if it takes me to wade through every, he said something about squishy, disloyal blood, not squishy, but something like that. Slick with disloyal blood. That's right. That's what he said. Until the floor is slick with disloyal blood. And so he had a lot of great lines, I thought. I thought that they put a lot of effort into making him look bad. I think the good dude is a good actor. He may be a better actor than the guy that plays Danny Rand, to be honest.
Well, I mean, did you really think that... So Danny Rand, the guy, I mean, he looks like somebody who you would expect to be a rich guy. that doesn't really do a whole lot of exercise or anything like that.
Right.
You know, he's got sort of skinny arms, if you know what I mean.
Right.
What did you think of Davos? Did he make a good evil character?
I think he was pretty consistent. And there's a couple of scenes where he looks like he's receiving like a gift from God. You know, it's like I saw one thing and it reminded me of this scene in Videodrome where James Woods realizes that he is the video word made flesh, and he has become like this godlike being that can transform things with thought, right? Because of this fucking growth that's in his brain. And he's almost welled up with tears because he realizes that he's becoming God, and it is only through God, in His mercy that he's become this way. And I saw a similar transformation with Davos, but this was like more like I'm receiving what I promised my mother I would receive. Because his mom treated him like shit after he disgraced her and quote his father, which we never saw the father even respond to him. It was all the interrelationship between he and his mom.
Death Hyrukin says the guy playing Danny should have been more in shape than he is. Way more in shape. I agree as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the dude should be ripped. Like Bruce Lee. I mean, fuck, Bruce Lee wasn't a big guy, but I mean that dude did not have a fucking ounce of fat on him, and he was just solid steel muscle. Even if he was a dancer and a dance instructor at heart, Bruce Lee, he sold the shit, right? Everything that he did, he put 100% into. And this guy that plays Danny, I think he's working hard with the fight sequences. But I think there's just a lot more to I think they should have picked somebody else, because he had a shitty part in Game of Thrones and he played it in a shitty way. I mean, how hard is it to beg your sister to get you out of prison because it sucks so bad? You know what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he did in the Game of Thrones, right?
I mean, he was known for other things.
Yeah. Well,
like smoking pole.
Yeah, the character. Yeah, the Game of Thrones.
The Fairy King.
Yeah, he was very, very, very gay. But even a strong gay person, can I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
Get ripped and shit for this part.
Don't you mean the majority of gay men?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long day for me. It's really been a long couple of days. I'm in constant pain because of this goddamn weather.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's giving my hips a fit. So anyway, I'm just being a baby.
Poor baby Irate.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Sorry, I had to, man.
You bastard. Fuck, what was I going to say? Let me look at my notes here. Let me look at my... All right, lens flares. Holy fuck. What is the deal with lens flares? That's one thing that I've got a huge fucking complaint about, okay? For God's sakes.
Everywhere on the planet has a crazy reflection that needs a lens flare.
Fuck it.
Even inside buildings.
Fuck J.J. Abrams for that. I like pretty much everything that that J.J. Abrams has done himself, and even Fringe, but the fucking lens flare shit is just I hate it. I fucking hate it. I was always taught that lens flares meant you were using A, the wrong lens, and B, you were catching the light at the wrong angle, and there was an easy fix to get out of that. Just saying. Let's see. And then, okay, so we get to the part of where they incapacitate Davos, right? They knock him out, finally inject him with a cocktail of heavy drugs, And
touch them all funny on the forehead and say some words.
Yeah, and then there's that stuff which is based on stuff that was in. It's really fucking urban legend shit, right? The death touch, supposedly that that Bruce Lee, that Chuck Norris had given Bruce Lee the vibrating palm technique, which disrupted his liver and made his heart explode and shit. I remember hearing that shit, you know, when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound right anyway. So, yeah. So, they get
what are you talking about? I can control your entire body with the crane stance.
That's true. I can thump your forehead, man, and make you shit. You know?
Here's a stroke. Have a stroke. Stroked you out. Ha! Gotcha.
Yeah. And all you did was, like, tap the dude's neck 3 times. It was like, pop, pop, pop. I was like, okay.
Yep.
Okay, that gave him a stroke. Okay, whatever. I'm willing to suspend disbelief on that shit just because of all the bullshit that's out there about that kind of stuff. You know, it's urban legend shit. All right, so when Colleen, all right, so they give her. I don't understand why they don't give it back to Danny, but they give Colleen. The power.
Danny was too busy being a soy boy. That's why. Because Danny's a terrible actor, and he doesn't want to fight people unless it's for good, but he can't prove it's good, so guess what? Danny can't have that power anymore. He loses the privilege.
Well, you know, maybe it's the dragon, you know, kind of saying, you know, you're not worthy of me yet. You know, you were that weakness, you know, that was one of the reasons so he goes into Colleen, the chick. And, you know, and but the ceremony stops. She's trying to suck the power out of his third eye. And Davos wakes up. And so he's still got part of his power and she's got part of the power, right? So that makes sense that each one will only have one hand, right?
Yeah.
All right. And so Davos, you know, he punches the ground a couple of times and does this Hulk shit, which is a totally rip-off of Hulk. Y'all,
oh yeah.
I mean, you know, and the hand clap, that too. But they don't do that with this because if Iron Fist had one hand, one normal hand, and he did the hand clap, I guess it would make his other hand fall completely off.
Just turn into a red mist.
It's a mud.
Yeah,
exactly.
There goes your hand, buddy. That sucks.
Oh shit. When I'm going to jack off anyway.
Well, now you gotta use the super hand. Hope it doesn't miss your penis.
The power jack. All right, so Colleen. All right, so in the end, all right, we get to the end. Danny, and during this whole thing, we forgot to mention Ward going to NA meetings and fucking his sponsor, who's a chick.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is all against the rules. All right, I used to have to take people to meetings. I even went to the meetings myself for my own problems, okay? And rule number 1 is that they call that 13th stepping, is when a sponsor takes advantage of a newcomer by fucking them, okay? Because it's really easy to do with transference and shit. And men can do it to women, women can do it to men, women can do it to women, men can do it to men, okay? I've seen it happen. And then there's the 14th step. You know what that is, Brian?
What is that?
That's when you invite your sponsor to watch y'all.
Dang.
It's a joke.
It's an
That's an old 12-step joke. Only the 12-step people will get it because it's funny because you're not supposed to do the 13th step, right? And it's bad. So,
but I mean, if you've done the 13th step, might as well go to the 14th.
Well, and they make it look like it's group therapy. All right, this is just, you know, and like the chick that he's banging looks almost like she's the psychologist leading group therapy, but no, it's just an NA meeting, and really different people, different person chairs the meeting every time they have the meeting. Okay, that's just the way it works, right? And there's no professionals that lead the meetings because, you know, especially junkies and NA, man, they are very paranoid about getting busted. And so, as you know, as a way to keep that up, anonymity is a big thing. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because at the end, Ward and Danny they get on a Learjet and they're going to Asia to try to look and see who shipped the body of the other the other Iron Fist, who the dude cut the chest tattoo off of to burn to make the story to get that stole their dragon to begin with.
I like to call him the beef jerky Iron Fist.
E-I-E-I-O. Yeah, the beef jerky. Yeah. And if you have the full collection of all the posters for this series, you should have it. Okay. I recommend everybody start collecting the thumbnails that we're doing for this show, just for your own collection. And when you get a decoder ring, it will say "Drink Ovaltine every day," but you have to look for the code, the secret code.
Yeah, so, and actually, you only get the decoder ring by buying the merch.
And at the end, which I fucking just did not understand this at all. Okay, Colleen, I get it. They're setting up this thing called the Daughters of the Dragon, right? Where Colleen has this mystical fucking sword, and Misty Knight, the cop, has quit the police force, and she's using her, she's learning Kung Fu and Karate. All right, and they're going to be the Daughters of the Dragon. So they're setting up for that thing with her and the sword. And then in the end, Danny pulls out these two fucking guns that are glowing like Iron Fist, and somebody tries to shoot him, and he shoots the guns at him, and the bullets meet exactly where his bullet meets the guy that was shooting at him, and then it just puffs. And I'm like, what? I'm confused. Because, all right, so does he have the Iron Fist? It's a Basoma. It's the gun. It's the gun Basoma, Bubba.
It is. He's got Iron Gun Kata. He is the one that can shoot the guns and stop the bullets and stop evil and crime in the streets.
See, and it was much better done by Christian Bale in Equilibrium. You want to see
it was
fantastically done Gun Kata? That's where you want to go for that. Do not go here, because it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like he was using laser pointers. Oh, I got it. Boop.
Touched. Oh, it's awesome. Oh, these guns are awesome. And then I got them in Jakarta. It's like, what about this deal in Jakarta? What went down? It's like, oh, come on, man. Are you aping Indiana Jones, really? Are you really going to be,
Okay, well, I mean, so
that's a trope, referring to some incident that happened, that, you don't go into detail about, but, oh, this reminds me of the Jakarta incident, or whatever. Go ahead. Yeah. Take it on, my man.
Well, I was going to say, so what did you actually think about? Like, what rating would you give this?
Okay, all right. If you're into good kung fu and good fighting, and you don't want like a deep and meaningful, transcendent work of art type TV show, just something to eat popcorn and watch some fucking cool fighting, this is the perfect show for you, I think. All right, this is my opinion. Do not watch season 1. It won't make any sense, and it has very little to do with this season. And don't watch the Defenders, because that'll even piss you off even more. Especially if you've seen season 1, because it doesn't get better, it gets worse. So this is the best thing that I've seen that's not Daredevil season 1 or 2, Jessica Jones season 1, or fucking Punisher season 1. Okay? And Punisher season 1 had some moments there I was like, oh,
yeah.
But so this is it. This season 2 of this is Luke Cage season 2 was pretty good too, and Luke Cage season 1 was okay. I thought I didn't see a lot of people being real snobby about that shit, and it's like, come on, y'all. But I really had to think that Netflix has a hard time with finishing shit and ending. Like that ending just was stupid with the gun. They should have just stopped it with Colleen and the sword, right?
I guess, who said it in the chat? It was, I think, Adrian Blum. Yep. Hey, Irate Prostate. He went to Asia to search for a new dragon. So that's what he was doing there. But yeah, the gun kata thing. Why? Why would you put that in? It looks so corny. I mean, it was slow-mo Matrix bullet that was on fire, essentially.
Yeah,
you know,
it was. Yeah, it was definitely it made me shake my head and go, why? What the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
You know, if they introduced it in a different way and maybe, you know, have some kind of like story that makes sense into how he comes into possession of it, I can even see Ward using them, you know? Because there was this whole like, you know, foreshadowing of Ward and guns, right? Because the dude in the van is in everything. He has been in all of the shows, right?
Yeah.
The guns dealer, the arms dealer. So he always has a cameo, and I knew he had one. And there's even a joke about the van down by the river, which I thought
you did say that joke.
I thought that was funny, man. I did. Yeah, it got a cackle out of me. But all right, so on a personal level, all right, I'm going to give it an 8, 7.98 as just a good popcorn entertainment. If you're looking for transcendent art along the lines of Sandman, you're not going to find it here. And you should slap yourself for even thinking you're going to find that kind of shit here. I think this fits in with the CW, with Gotham, with all that stuff. I think this is a perfect fit for that kind of storytelling. And the acting and the directing and the writing is all inconsistent. And I think that's because of the writing and directing. I think that's because of production. You know, I think production, we're just playing Yahtzee, trying to figure out what the fuck that, you know, how are we going to make this better? Because last year was horrible. And then they had all that SJW bullshit about Danny Rand not being Asian, which he wasn't ever to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And I see what Alachia is saying at the end. You know, it's like, okay, so they give the power to what's-her-name, to Colleen, and she's all right, so you made your point there, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't think this was some kind of a SJW redemption tale. I just thought it was a good, you know, kung fu that had interesting characters. I really like Typhoid Mary. I want to see more of her. And
yes,
and the TK and the Pyro K would be fucking awesome. You know,
I agree. Yeah,
yeah, she's foxy, man. And if you're a male and you just have natural male urges, you're gonna want to look Alice Eve up.
Oh yeah, definitely do that. Jesus.
Images. Hashtag.
Woo.
What a pair. Hashtag what a pair.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Brian. What's your judgment?
Yeah. Okay, so here's my judgment. Well, you didn't give me an out of 10 rating yet.
I did. I said it was an 8. An 8.
8 out of 10. Okay. Oh, yeah, maybe that's why I didn't hear it.
I'm gonna give it an 8, dude.
Okay. So from my point of view, I thought that this entire series was just kind of boring, to be honest. I thought that the storyline wasn't there at all. Had no continuity. Didn't really, didn't really catch anything important. It wasn't very, it wasn't like there was an overarching. So when you look at a story arc, right, and you don't have to go by this all the time. There are stories that lie outside of this that are better, but usually when you look at the plot, you want it to be escalating, and right around episode 7 or 8, right before your last episode, you want it to spike really hard, and then you want to have your climax at the very end of the season.
Right.
Well, I didn't really feel like that's exactly what happened. I felt like I got dragged around 500 different places with no real builds of suspense. I don't know if maybe in the first season you're supposed to care more about the characters, but I did not care at all about these characters. Davos seemed like a whiny bitch. The main character, Danny Rand, he was sort of close to what he was supposed to be, a rich, snobbish guy that has magical powers. That was...
Yeah, but he was trained in Kunlun for all his life, so he should have the body of Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that the actor was in the shape. Yeah, I'm saying that the way that he looked was what you would expect from that, not from some guy that has done kung fu his entire life. The kung fu teacher girl that was with him, that they turned their dojo into a loft. I could care less about her. She seemed like a plot point that was only there to sort of just I don't know, just like slightly comment on Danny Rand. Like, don't do this. It could be dangerous. Okay, next episode, don't do this. It could be dangerous. I don't fucking care. Go away. Like, there was a lot of fighting in here. The fighting was great. The graphics, what little there was of them, great. The cinematography, great. Even the sound, great.
Yeah.
But that's what I expect.
Well, see, the usage, I was going to talk about the usage of music was really, really
yes.
Disciplined, which was really made it better, I thought.
But this is what I expect from something that Netflix is producing.
Right. It's they're throwing a ton of money at this shit.
Yeah, it's a big budget. Why should I be sitting here wondering why the storyline doesn't make very much sense? Why should I be sitting here wondering why all the actors are wrong? Like, what is this? So in my book, honestly, it got a 4 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
It was not good. If you had asked me to watch this again, I wouldn't. I would not watch this at all. And I would definitely not recommend it to a friend.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. I think it's a good popcorn. And the story it's a fucking comic book story.
Yeah, but no, you don't.
It's a Marvel 70s Marvel comic book story.
I don't care. I don't care. With a budget like this, you don't get to hide behind it's a Marvel, well, it's a Marvel story, but they're not going to go by the books exactly. But
Stanley loved it.
Oh, God. Well, Stanley is an old man. He can't see very well. I just thought, like, look, you can do better. You can do better than this. Hemlock Grove, one of the first Netflix originals.
Was shit, though. Man.
And it was still better than this. That's the sad part. This is what I'm saying. I can't. It was not good.
But I think we've identified. Oh man, and all right, we forgot to show our Twitter thing. All right, you have had a problem with Netflix, okay? Because all of their foreign takes, maybe 5% of them have an English dub option, right?
Yeah.
And so you sent this up and you said, why does that Netflix make its original foreign series movies dubbed in every language but English? Come to find out with Irate, Prostate, and I on Netflix Hot Takes Thursday, right? And what one was check the I gotta make it bigger. Check the settings, stupid. But if you check the settings, there's nothing. There's no option.
Well, yeah, I was really when I put that up, I did not know exactly what was going to win because and the two that I thought were going to have a very high ratio were the Netflix hates America and Netflix is progressive.
You know what I think?
What do you think?
I don't know. I think you might have smoked a little of the wacky tobacco before you came. It's legal where he is. So he's,
what? Oh yeah.
So.
But no. I thought that obviously I would put a funny one in there and
it was
people,
funny as shit. It was good.
Yeah, people went for that.
Yeah. But it's like why that is a good question though. Why did they do that? Is it because they're trying to show how not Americo-centric they are? Because aren't they owned by a Canadian company?
I don't know.
I thought they were owned by a Canadian company. Something, I can't remember. I think I looked it up one time and it said Canada, but they may have been bought out since then. I'm giving you time to look it up. So,
yep, I am currently doing that.
And, you know, and if it is Canadian, then, you know, we have our answer right there. Is that
Headquarters, Los Gatos, California.
Okay.
Founded, Scotts Valley, California. So I'm assuming it's American.
So, yeah, obviously. I don't know where I got the Canadian thing. I need to reassess my my homework there. So then we know the obvious answer is that it's SJW, globalism at its best, like Alex Jones would say. They're preparing for a global world so that they, that white people who speak English won't be around in 40 years anyway. So we don't have to worry about it. Or we could take Japanese lessons.
We could take Japanese. I think we probably should take Chinese lessons, to be honest.
Maybe Mandarin or Cantonese.
Mandarin. I believe that's the most popular one there.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then I took a thing. Have you or have you not seen season 2 of Iron Fist? And as of when we went to the show, as we went live and had mic problems, 18% said yes, 82% said no. And I tried to get that canvas to a lot of people, but only 11 people voted. So, but I think that's probably an honest representation of the people that are watching it. And they might want to kill that. You know, they might use that as an excuse to kill the series, and then start the Daughters of the Dragon thing.
Good.
I think they really want to go. I think that I think there's a lot of push for that. I like the actress that plays Colleen. I really think she was really good in Game of Thrones. See, there's all these actors are British, you know. And there's not a lot of Joy and Ward and Misty Knight are all American actors, and I think the rest of them are, except for some of the Asian actors, were UK picks. So. And then we have that.
Yep.
So, all right. So Brian gives it a 4. I give it an 8. So that skews it down the middle, right at a 6. Composite.
Exactly.
So, take what you will of that. You know, get back to us. Please give us feedback. Go ahead.
Hannibal O'Neill is telling us that it's Cantonese is the major one there.
Oh, really? Well, then we'll learn Thank you, Hannibal.
Yeah, Cantonese.
Thank you. Yeah, but let's say hey to some people out there. You know, memes of destruction. How you're doing? I hope you're doing good. Adrian Blom.
Death Harukin's been here the whole time, man.
Death Harukin sat through it all.
Yep.
Did Goatman even pop by?
This was not a Goatman stream, unfortunately.
See, we had problems.
Yep, that's why we had technical difficulties. Now I'm going to have to write an angry letter to Goatman.
Address your anger to Goatman, care of Twitter. That's Goatman, the Goatman _ at Twitter, Twitter at whatever, fuck it. But shit, man, I think we're kind of played on this one. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing. October is the month of Halloween. And Brian and I talked earlier, and we decided to do what, Bubba?
We are doing all horror all month for the Halloween month, brother. So get ready.
Yep, and we've been talking about maybe dropping a top 5 of other shit, and we may have to go outside of Netflix because Netflix has punted a lot of its really good horror. So yeah, we'll talk about that to ourselves later. But all right, so next week we are going to do a Netflix original horror film. All right, it's billed as a horror called Hold the Dark, featuring Alexander Skarsgård. You'll remember him from True Blood, the big Viking vampire, good looking dude, Eric. Let's see, and also later that month, Castlevania.
Hold on.
Season 2.
Hold on. Before we go any further, Doc Griffin says, I was here too, but I'm a nobody. You're somebody to us, Doc Griffin.
We love
Thanks
you
for
guys.
watching.
Doc, man. We love you, Bubba. You've been here. I didn't notice that. But we've got, see, you don't understand, Doc. Goat Man's the good luck charm.
Yeah, he puts his little goat balls on everything.
But I love all of my subs, man, because they're all awesome, and I try to work hard to give you all a quality product. I don't want to steer y'all in a direction that I wouldn't think, and that's why I've got Brian here, because at times we're going to differ on opinions, and I want that out of him. But I didn't set this up to where it's like, all right, you vote low, I'll vote a little higher than that.
No, he didn't know where I was going to vote, and yeah,
and vice versa. We try not to talk about this shit until we're on the show. We work very hard at that. So, but I guess so. Next week we're going to be doing called Hold the Dark, HOLDTHEDARK. And let's see, and then also coming up in the month, this cult-based horror film called Apostle, and then Castlevania is going to close out the month, season 2. So I'm excited to do anime and horror combined. So, and you know what?
And horror.
Big Fat Brian, it's not over between us, you and me.
It's not over.
Those fucking just those, for God's sakes, just throw those fucking lines out, people.
I feel like you should say it's not over, and then in the background the music should start playing and go, ow! You know, like the beginning of NCIS or whatever that is.
Oh yeah.
You know, put your glasses on. He was a hot one.
It was
like, oh God, I'm sorry, the writing was awful. I can't get over that.
Yeah, it definitely could have used. I'll talk to you later about something else I noticed. I don't want to get controversial here, but on that note, remember next week, Hold the Dark. I'll be posting throughout the week like I've been doing the past couple of weeks. Keep everybody, it's like the whole idea is to get y'all to watch this stuff and then kind of have a dialogue. We want to take calls, so we can pull y'all in here with us and talk about it maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, and then pull in somebody else, because that's kind of what we wanted to do from the day one.
Why don't we just put an open invitation out there? We're on the live stream, and we can just say, hey, if you want onto the live stream to talk about it, just get in the waiting room. Just at any moment during the live stream, just hop in that waiting room.
Yep, and we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll yank you in when we need.
Yep.
And on that note, I guess that's it for us, man. Big Fat Brian, say your exit.
Thug life, brother.
And this is Irate saying, we'll see y'all this time, same bat channel. Y'all have fun, and don't do anything too disgusting. Okay, take care.
Hi, cool, Jimmy Johns.